next fly that I'd like to share with you is called the parachute midge larva. This is going to show you a totally different technique and how to do a parachute. Again, we're going to be using the 2487 hook because we want the body to hang down underneath the surface while the hackle supports the fly. The body is a goose biot, the hackle is CDC, the post is poly yarn, or you could substitute Zelon, and the thorax and head area is superfine dubbing. Well, let's just see how this parachute is done. First thing we're going to do is tie in our TM code 2487. And I always start off with the eye down a little bit. And we'll come in with our thread and we'll wrap back down onto the base of it, on the corner a little bit, just like that. Trim off the thread. Now we're ready for our body. The body, we're going to use a goose biot. Peel one off. Then we'll look for where that notch is. Make sure it's towards the back. And then we're going to moisten it before we tie it in. That way it makes it a lot more pliable. And advance our thread forward up into the thorax area. And then we're going to grab our hackle pliers, make that first bend of the biot with our fingers, and come in and grab it. Then we just start to wrap it forward, making sure it's nice, even wraps. Covering up that fuzzy little rib each time as we go. And we just keep going right up to the thorax area here. Tie it off. And we snip off the excess. And we make sure it's tied down nice and tight. And we'll throw a little thread base in here, just like so. Now we're going to stand this up and make this portion more parallel to the floor. Now we're ready to start doing the parachute. What we're going to do is take some poly yarn and we'll just snip a hunk of it, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long. And you just want to kind of straighten it out a little bit. And we're just going to peel off a little bit, approximately a sixth of it or a fourth of it. And we'll set the rest of it to the side. And we just kind of pull on it to straighten it out and give it a twist so it becomes nice and tight. And we'll set that down for a moment. I'm going to take some CDC. And we'll take 2 feathers here, and we're going to match up the butts on them. And if we have any little marabou down here, we're going to pull that off. Just like so. Even them up again. Just like that. And we're going to grab the tips, and we're just going to stroke the CDC back so it stands straight up and down from the stem of the feather here. And then we're going to take our fingers and pull one clump off. Now we have the tips up here and the butts down here. Then we're going to stick the remainder of it right in between there, just bunch it all together, grab it, pull it off. Now we have tips and butts up here and tips and butts down here. Now we're going to grab that piece of poly yarn right in the middle, and we're going to push that right down in between our fingers. Then we're going to grab this whole bunch right in the middle, just like so. Now our CDC is on the bottom and our poly yarn is on top. So we re-grab it with our left hand. Now we're ready to tie it in. So we'll come up here and we'll do a couple turns over the top like that. pull it out of the way, and we'll do one more turn right over the other side, creating a figure 8. And with this last wrap, I like to pull it kind of tight forward, and as I do that, you can see the CDC pull forward. I want to keep that tension on there, and I'll take a few lock wraps. Now when we pull the CDC off the stem, some of the stem comes off with it. So we want to snip that off on both sides. Get those stems out of there, and kind of splay them out a little bit. I want to be nice and free. And then you just kind of fluff it out. Make sure it kind of encircles that poly yarn, just like so. And then what you do is take your hand, come from the bottom, and just stroke it straight up, grabbing the CDC and the poly yarn. Then you take your thread and take 2 tight wraps right at the base. Just like that. And a couple turns of thread right in front of everything to lock it in. Now we're ready to dub our thorax. We'll take some of the dubbing, apply it to our thread so it's nice and thin. I mean, this dubbing is so easy to work with, you don't even need dubbing wax. Start wrapping in front of it. I'll wrap right up to the wing. Pull everything towards the back. And you want to cover up where you tied off your biot. Come to the front and just bring your thread to the eye. Now we're ready to whip finish it off. Give it a few whip finishes here. And we'll take our thread off. Now what we're going to do is hold our poly yarn. That's the reason we want it to be fairly long. And we're going to stroke and pull the CDC straight down, just like so. And we're going to cut it even with the tip of the hook. Just take one little snip. As you can see, it automatically flares right around the post there. And if you get some scragglers, you can just give it a trim. When it makes it a little difficult to do this, just even it up a little bit. Just like so. And there's a scraggler right in there, a little bit long. Now we have a nice symmetrical parachute of CDC. And the way this CDC is tied in, as I'm sure you've already gathered, there's no way that's ever going to come out of there. And then you just take and cut your post to whatever length you would like it. And just kind of fluff it out so it makes it a little bit easier for you to see out on the water.